Go. And welcome back to another episode of the New Generation Challenge podcast, episode 9 of Vets and New Threats. We're your hosts. My name's Brett Parnell.
My name is Titi Fernandez.
And Titi, we're back. Hope you're doing okay after last week. I know you weren't doing too well when we were going to record.
I had a cyst in my mandible that they were getting out, so
Oh no.
definitely fun, but for this week, thankfully.
Yeah, glad you're doing well. So we'll briefly touch on episode 8 just before we go into all the drama that happened last night on episode 9, but I know there was a little bit you wanted to bring up from a week ago, so take it away.
Yeah, so we're coming back from the starting of episode 9, I guess. We're coming back from the elimination where CT eliminated Derrick Chavez. And it was the whole justice for Lecca thing. Just I I am not liking the way that this rookie class is treating like CT, and I think that even if he's not like best shape, that'd be like to me, like nowadays when people go for I'm not saying super fan, but at least know like this is somebody who on so many seasons is the reason probably why the show's so successful.
Yeah.
And like for me, thing about he threw it or like I don't think he threw it. I genuinely think he was just so scared.
Yeah, I'd agree
And
with you. I
to
think
me, like,
CT tried his best in that one, unlike some people we'll see in the
and then
next episode that
he
didn't
lost the
try.
males one the next time. So it's like if he really did throw it the first time, wouldn't he like done very well the second,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of a tough spot. I'm not a big fan of the whole Justice for Lecca, get CT home, and then CT winning, obviously. But
I honestly wonder how much of it was real in the daily versus how much of it was just Turbo felt like being Turbo and causing shit back at the house, and it kind of all escalated from there.
I did see a clip of Yeremi talking about how after the challenge, like during it was like yelling and screaming for Lecca. He finished like nobody even said anything, like not even like hey good try or like and that was very like that's doesn't really happen, I guess.
Yeah.
The way that Yeremi was talking about it. Yeah, speaking of disrespect, all that we see at the beginning of the episode, Yeremi congratulates CT on the win, and CT asks, "Do you think the rest of the house will count this as time served?" And Yeremi responds with, "No, definitely not." And again, why are these rookies so entitled? Like, I would love to see pretty much all those rookie men go in against CT in a pole wrestle
Yeah.
and see what happens. Um, yeah, I don't know. What did you think about that? Like,
Yeah, I agree with you. I honestly do think that CT tried his best. Um, it does to an extent, and I know I've brought this up with other players, and I'm sure we'll get into talking about the same topic with, say, Anessa shortly. Um, bring up things that I have brought up when you and I were here in previous seasons about like why do they just keep bringing back people who are over and over and over again when we're not necessarily going to get different results. But I definitely don't think that the rookie class or even the whole house, is whether they're a rookie or a veteran, should be blaming CT for the fact that he didn't do well in a challenge one day. That I'm sure everyone's done that in a challenge.
and I think that a lot of people aren't remembering that CT won the Worlds too, took
Yeah.
came back for double agents, won, came back for spies, won,
Yeah.
went into season 39, beat whatever his name was in elimination. Season 40 was kind of rough. He was also like shape and at a disadvantage. I think it's not like
And
like
everyone
Anissa
from Era One
that
was at a disadvantage.
exactly. And it's not someone like Anissa where you're like I mean, this season she clearly put in a lot of work, but
Yeah.
before that, we would see her over and over, like not make a final for like 15 or something. and being on every single season. So I don't think he's on the same category as that,
Yeah, I
especially
don't
because we have seen him come in super out of shape and literally win the final.
exactly. I agree with you. I don't think that he is necessarily in that category. I also don't want to pick on Anessa too much either because I mean, there's other players in the same situation, Nany, Leroy. I just have to wonder with this whole maybe vets versus new threats is the fact that we have half a cast of rookies and a lot of them, like them or not on the whole CT versus Leica thing, are really good rookies this year. If this might be the time where it's just like, okay, if you're not going to win the challenge now, you're not going to win the challenge. Time to move on.
Exactly. But I also like the other things like if he's that out of shape, keep him as a layup.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and talk about points and I changed my mind on this because at first I was like, I don't think CT threw it, but I don't think he put in his best. Like now watching, hearing interviews and hearing how they talk, I genuinely just had like a panic attack.
Yeah.
I cannot do this. I cannot get myself to do this.
So
Which how many times have we seen people not do the heights over water challenges
a lot.
or
And
heights?
which makes me ask the question, even as I've said before, at the same time as with yes, CT, it's his first time after what happened in 40, struggling with that. But like it's the challenge always has a heights challenge. Why do they keep bringing Durrell back at this age? Why do they keep bringing Katie back? We know what's going to happen. So
Yeah,
it's
but I
not
think
just CT in that situation by any means.
exactly, and I 100% agree with that. And I think that he's being kind of punished in a way where it's like, this isn't a thing. We always see like that one person who freaks out and everybody moves on. Sometimes they go in elimination, go home, sometimes and they come back. I don't think that just because there's one challenge and try maybe to your fullest because you were having emotional situations or PTSD from something else, that doesn't mean that you're like a player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, drink break.
All right, so getting into our current episode, episode 9. We start, like you mentioned, with Yeremi congratulating CT on his win, and then we go into a discussion on draft order because we know that the lock-in is coming up, and we start with notably Adrienne has, in my opinion, what's just a bad idea. She's sitting on 28 points, second amongst rookie women, really respectful for to come in and get 28 points as a rookie. But Adrienne brings up immediately in front of Sydney that she could get first pick when Sydney's sitting on 33. Not smart with someone with the personality of Sydney on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, I agree. This was kind of an odd thing to say in front of someone, but also I feel like if Sydney would have like freaked out about that, which I've heard Sydney say, I think I was on my podcast that she's like a confessional warrior is kind of like the
Yeah,
way that she was talking about.
yeah.
She's not going to get up in your face and yell
No,
at you,
exactly.
at you.
And she was
She's
the same
more,
on Survivor too. But
yeah.
she had some really weird tribe mates on Survivor who said some really weird things allegedly about her in their dreams. And she just brought it into confessional.
Yeah. I don't remember that. It's been a minute, but
Heather was an older lady on her tribe who was having dreams about needing to vote Sydney out, even though they were just getting to know each other on like day 2, and was totally hallucinating on there. But I don't know her the whole way, but I think Heather is someone who like spiritually believed in that kind of stuff or whatnot because she started taking it into the game. And that's where we get Sydney's iconic confessional. All of them hate me because they hate me.
I don't I don't really do the whole dream thing.
I don't either.
Like if you dream some like when people talk about like, oh, this is what happened in my dream and they tell like a 10-minute story, I'm like, I don't really care. It's not real.
Believe it or not, the
Anyways,
only thing that's really odd for me is when I'm in normal life, no, it's totally fine. There's something to do with the movement of the ocean that I have crazy dreams when I'm on cruise ships, to the point that I actually spend half of the next day thinking it might have been real life. I
yeah,
spent the whole morning on a cruise ship, like thinking I got fired while I was on vacation.
I've gotten where like you're sleeping after being on a boat or a cruise or whatever, and you're like trying to go to bed, and or this usually after, and you feel like you're still rocking in the
Yeah.
boat. Horrible. I hate that.
Okay.
Anyways, Nany and Will hook up again. They talk about being teammates together, and this isn't super likely because and
And Olivia.
Michaela and Olivia are ahead of Will on the scoreboard.
So
So,
odds are one of those two women will select him, but we'll see as we go.
yes.
I mean, if he's on 33 points, it's just a good bet.
Yeah, especially because he's been performing very well on the challenges too. So it's not just like he has the most points.
Then
We'll
again,
see
you
him as an
never know because
asset.
we've also seen some, and I mean, we're about to get into a couple of them, but seen some bizarre Will moments that would make me think twice if I was about to pick Will.
Yeah, that's true.
And we saw one of those back with Dee earlier in the season.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that a
Will
little
need
bit later.
if Will wants to win the challenge, Will needs to drink less in the challenge. And I say this as two people that are actively drinking, so I'm not shaming alcohol.
Functioning alcoholic. I'm just kidding. But um, yeah, I want to talk about that later
Sure.
because I just have something else on that.
Okay. So then after that, speaking of alcohol, Ashley's wasted again. It's like old Ashley, who's just out to start fights for no reason. And she gets into it with her old All Stars partner, Anessa, over her performance.
I have a say about this.
Okay.
First of all, I don't know, just because Ashley was on timeout for a long time, I don't know if he's like trying to make more she used to, playing things up for the camera, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
Um,
She's
like,
trying to fill in for the role of where Amanda would normally be in her alliance. A little too hard.
yeah. But I feel like Amanda doesn't come after people for their body and the way that like they are.
No, just the relationships.
And yeah, like personally, we don't like Amanda, but I do give her props for not throwing a low blow
Yeah, exactly.
against. But yeah, they kind of get in a big fight. Jake stood up for Anissa,
Yep.
and was supporting her. But what do you think about that?
Um, I definitely think that Ashley's behavior was, as you said, not acceptable. We shouldn't be having these sort of basically high school arguments as adults on the show. I mean,
I wouldn't
maybe
even say I think that like high school, if somebody was saying those things to somebody, they would get a lot of trouble.
they should went in my high school with lazy teachers and principals. But
Oh wow. In my high school, if you like called someone like big or whatever, like you would get in a lot of trouble because that's not okay.
I wish I went to your
Um,
school then.
but yeah, I she said things, I don't care how big you are, go out any day, and the bigger they are, the harder they fall. I found this disgusting.
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
somebody who liked Ashley a lot, like I like antics and stuff, and when she freaks out about stupid things, it's funny, but I don't like this at all.
Yeah, neither do I. Um, it definitely doesn't belong in the show anymore. I mean, I at least thought the challenge moved past this kind of stuff from like the middle of era 3, maybe, when you had Laurel and Wes as the stars of the show. But at the same time, it does bring me up, though, a bit into that previous discussion of I'm not quite sure why, and not from the player's angle. I don't fault anybody for taking a call. Why not? It's their job. But from a production angle, I'm not quite sure why they just continue to bring the same people over and over again who continue to not win or not make the final, or so on and so forth. And
So
I
I
go
will
back
say-
almost to like episode 1 when I say that, of like how surprised Leroy is when Sydney picks him. And it's like, she wants to be on a team with me, the guy who never wins anything.
I like, especially when I was in Challenge Mania, the age of the fan base is much like 30s to 40s. Fans like the show have watched since the beginning, like to watch the same, like they continue watching because they let players come back season
That's
after.
fair.
Not to say that like that people don't like rookies, because you obviously need rookies. You can't have the same people all the time, but the show want to see favorites. I mean, I don't know how many people is Anessa, but I know like I like Leroy a lot. I like CT. I like watching, like, as much as I love to hate him, I like it. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's weird. But yeah, it's like production, they continue to cast the older people because that's their demographic, and they know that like
That's
a
fair.
season like this with the going to do a lot better than something that only has new people in it.
Makes sense.
Stop casting the other people. It's more about if you're going to continue having those older faces, I guess you can bring in a people like a Sydney, like those people that are going to absolutely smoke all of the bets.
Yeah. That makes sense.
But yeah, I think like also Ashley, if Anissa says, "Yeah, I think I can win," like I mean, like I know they sound, but even if she is right, like saying that she doesn't think she would be able to win and whatever, like you also still have to try your best, because like that's another, they want you to like be confident in your skills and try your hardest. And to me, the battle is like fake confident, so just fake it till you make it. And if she's delusional, just let her be. Like
Exactly.
get it.
So then, Nick, speaking of that, females, we have Jonna pitching herself
sorry.
as. Oh,
I don't like D.
I missed that.
But,
Sorry. Go ahead.
I didn't like how she was laughing about this.
Yeah.
Like, you think it's funny? Like, if I heard somebody say those things, I'm not saying you have to go stand up for her, but I'm saying don't start laughing about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's gross.
Yeah, definitely. So Nick's, like I was mentioning, Jonna is pitching herself as a potential partner to all the rookie males, and it doesn't seem like she's getting much success. I can't blame Jonna in this situation. One, she's trying her best. But two, she's just in a really bad situation because she came in as a replacement for Kara, and I think by the time that Kara went home, even if she was called in advance and said like, "Oh, you're the alternate," she probably anticipated, okay, the season's. I'm sure Johnny is watching what Gamer is saying about the season and is being like, okay, they've been in the house. It's 1 elimination, 2 eliminations. I'm not going to play in this game. Who cares? And then all of the sudden she's flying out to Chile and is not, well, hasn't been really well prepared for the game. And is starting with 0 points when everybody else is accumulating points for 2.5 weeks now at this point. So
Yeah.
It's just not a good spot.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of times you're an alternate, even you're assuming that like something really bad happened for them to bring you out there.
Yeah.
We had to lose Q, we had to lose Naya. Those are two vet females, and that's what it took for able to bring Jonna. So I feel like the people that are alternates, I wouldn't be surprised if they like didn't train or barely trained,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
not only are you like, I'm probably not gonna get on, but also if they chose you to be an alternate, that kind of shows that like they didn't really want you on the cast.
Yeah.
So the way that you're gonna perform or fit into, like maybe they just didn't see the game as something that you would necessarily fit into, but they still want to have you on there. So I don't know. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. After what we got in 40, obviously family is the most important thing, and I'm not questioning anyone's decision by any means here. But I think it would have been a totally different situation if Kara was part of Olivia's alliance at this point in the game. She would have been highly in demand.
I like genuinely speaking, Aura, I want to see how that would have things up, speaking of like, wise and um people want as a partner, because Aura isn't somebody who like is known for being the best in dailies, known for being very good at, and I feel like she would have been a lot of people would want on their team.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Moving down, we have Turbo makes an alliance with Leo that includes Yeremi and Michaela going to the end. This is interesting because they all seem to be the stronger players at this point, kind of all working together. But at the same time, we've seen players like Yeremi also has an alliance with D and Sydney. So now you're starting to get to the point where just before we get into the mini final, that alliances might not be as clear cut anymore as UK versus US. And now we're finding players in multiple different alliances going up that have agreements to go all the way to the end. So we could get some very controversial votes in the next few weeks, maybe along the lines of players that were working with you now voting you in.
Yeah, this is an interesting alliance, and I feel like a lot of people have their toes dipped in a lot of pools, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of mini alliances within alliances, with people that aren't in your alliance, but they are in this. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not really taking these alliances as seriously, um, because it's kind of all over the place. Like, and Nany working with E and Sydney, but are they gonna pick like those, or are they gonna throw in another in front of her, in front of those girls? Because then that means the rookie numbers are going down, and you know,
Yeah.
it is kind of weird.
All right, so we get into the mini final. Players have to race up a 6 mile trail and complete 5 different checkpoints involving memorization, eating puzzles, lining up rows of chains, and then finally solving a riddle and completing the final puzzle. Points are at least supposed to be worth 1.5 times your regular value. We'll find out what they're actually worth at the end. But what did you think, at least, of the challenge, despite what went on?
I thought so. I remember I had predicted points of the daily before selection, or whatever they want to call it, are going to be worth more than a normal one, because they want everybody to feel like it's anybody's game. So but I really like finals. I feel like you can see how people work, or how they'll do in a scenario like a final. You get to see who got it, who doesn't, and mental toughness. I think this mini final, it was good because it had a lot of the staples of a final that people are going to end up seeing at the end of the season.
Yeah. definitely. And then even as we start to see the mini final play out, we start to see it's almost like a preview of lock in, and we start to see who's really working with who and who wants to see each other progress so that they can get the right draft order.
Yeah. Sorry, I just spaced out.
No problem. So
Did
then
you just do the first bullet point?
I was just saying that we start to see who's within the whole mini final who really wants to help who in the challenge and see what if they can try to get these 1.5 points to benefit their own ideal draft order.
Yes, I agree with that. And with the points being worth 12 points, even somebody who is low on the points, this can really make a difference in pretty much the game, you know? Certain people that you know that you a final with, even if you
unless you're in John A's spot, you've got a chance to at least jump into the middle to upper middle without probably the top 3 or 4 spots at this point are already pretty secure, but after that it's pretty much wide open.
Unless they completely shit the bed and
yeah.
like
so Sydney solves the puzzle first. She gives the answer to Turbo, who then, knowing Turbo, eventually passes it to pretty much everybody, except for CT and Anessa, who are at this point way behind. I don't think they would have given help to CT and Anessa anyway, based on what we've seen so far, but they were totally out of the picture. We then get into the eating challenge, and this is where the whole episode goes controversial. The Tory Deal effect is in play. We're going to eat onions, garlic, and peppers. This just looked horrible, at least for me. I don't know if you've ever heard of this before with your medical background.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a nacho dip this week, which I did not know was full of onion. And I had an allergic reaction and almost went to the hospital. So watching this was giving me like ridiculous flashbacks of last Friday.
I would say that probably wasn't the onions.
Okay.
It's probably an additive in that has something that you're allergic to.
Interesting.
That's my I don't know. I guess that's what I've heard of more.
I just hate onions, so I figured that was probably it, but
yeah,
that's good to know.
But can you do like onion seasoning and like?
I've never tried. I just didn't know that there was onion in this dip. I don't like onion.
I feel like there has to have been something that you eat that has onion.
Probably.
And if you haven't had a reaction to other things in the past, it's definitely not the onions. I would say the preservative that they put in there could be it too.
Good
Anyways.
But because of that, this just made it look so gross to me. I'm like, I would rather eat a fish head than eat this whole onion.
See, I was kind of like thinking to myself, I'm like, would I rather have to eat an onion like an apple, or would I want to eat like the cow and the other nasty, like all, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
Testicles, like, I don't think or the brain. Have you ever seen the brains?
I've heard the brain from.
It's like gray and mushy.
Yeah. I've heard from, I think the first time they ever ate a cow brain on television was Survivor of the Australian Outback Season 2. And I've heard people say that was the worst of all of the options you could get.
Yeah.
That was.
I mean, I think they did somewhere on the channel. I don't remember what season.
Yeah.
It was in the 30 or no, in the 20s maybe.
It was so funny in Season 2 of Survivor because this radical vegan activist ended up getting the cow brain. Meanwhile, the guy who would have no problems with it got a Snickers bar as a randomly selected food item.
Yeah, I haven't watched that season in so long, so I literally don't remember any of this stuff.
But sure enough, CT and Turbo enjoy the eating challenge. I mean, I wouldn't expect much different from those two guys, but
Yeah, we'll talk about this more, but again, CT is showing that, like, I don't know about you, but if I had, I mean, obviously, like, Jordan would be like my first pick for a final, but if I had like a lot of people, I would pick CT to run a
yeah.
because of this. If you're eating, you wouldn't even have to take a. He would literally eat the whole thing and not about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then says that
I mean, speaking of the
looking
Tory
for
effect, we
waiters,
saw Devin eat the entire thing when him and Tory won the show.
which that was controversial because some people say shouldn't matter, but if it's in her contract, it's in her contract. You know,
Yeah.
it's not her fault. Um, but Leo, Justin, and Derrick during the eating challenge after people have been long gone, they noticed that there's a lot of uneaten food around the vicinity behind them. And they conclusion that players are cheating, and that's obviously very wrong. But
Yeah.
also, I think production should have had, because I've heard of, I think Tori talking about this on somebody's, but she was saying that like when they're doing the eating, like chew it, swallow it, and like open and show that there's nothing in their mouth, then they up.
Right.
Obviously, if
This was so
they're
bizarrely handled by production.
exactly. And she said that tried to throw up without like showing them that like you had ate it, then they would give you a whole new piece.
Oh, really?
Like, so let's say I tried doing that with the, but if you're throwing no evidence that you didn't swallow it, I'll see you throw it.
So
But
it's like we have video evidence of at least some of the players who cheated. We don't know how many of them cheated. But at the same time, it's like this could have been so easily avoided.
I
So
think
it's confusing me.
I think it made too big of an impact. And I also like they probably had cameras on each side, but they couldn't distinguish with full accuracy maybe whose arm is back if there's like a bunch of players stacked up next to each other.
Yeah.
But I think it was more about
You just would have thought that every player would have had someone from production like effectively judging them.
yeah, like what Tori said, like
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't have enough people this year. Somebody called in sick, I don't know.
Who
But
knows?
yeah, I think they should have been watching them, and if you tried throwing out a quarter of an onion, then you're gonna get a full onion because
Or
you tried
even
to cheat.
worst comes to worst, even if they don't have to judge every piece and let them puke it up, whatever. They could have even just had one person from production being like, "You just threw the challenge in the bushes."
Yeah, I don't know. I think it went very bad, especially because of this. But what else do you think? Or
Um,
do you have anything else on that before we move on to the next
no,
part?
that's really about it. I mean, I'm sure we'll get back onto it at the end with the results because
Mm-hmm.
I see how this will come up, but after the challenge. As we continue in the mini final, we clearly see an effort by Sydney and Turbo that I wanted to talk about next to not only assist each other, but I think it's becoming more clear by the minute that they're both very high on the draft board. We'll see how where they end up after this mini final. And Sydney wants to draft Turbo, and Turbo wants to draft Sydney. I love this. For everything that we all know outside of the game that's going on, full disclosure, if everybody does not know, Sydney is an Israeli American. Turbo lives in Erdogan's Turkey. The
He
fact
lives
that
in LA now. He's not allowed in
does
Turkey.
he? Oh, I thought he lived in
See
Istanbul.
that? There's a arrest.
Pardon?
There's an arrest warrant for him in Turkey.
You're
He's been living
kidding
in
me.
LA for a while. No,
Holy shit.
because of his song.
Oh, I'm going to have to look all into this.
The Wine Me Dine Me song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard this story.
But it's
Interesting.
from Turkey.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the concept still stands that they are from two separate worlds that in today's political society are polar opposites. And the fact that both Sydney and Turbo can put their differences aside from their own ethnic communities and show America that people that are both from the Jewish and the Arab part of the Middle East can work together is amazing on national television. And that's exactly what we needed at this day and age.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. And I think no matter where you stand on those issues or policies and things like that, I think that people can come together as humans and agree on certain morals and values, and that can bring together. Um, and I think a lot of times people don't realize how, even though it may seem that you're on a completely opposite side, like politically, like foreign politics, with a lot of times you have a lot of like core values of be kind to others, don't kill people. Like I think that sometimes we need to look and see what do we common, and even though we go in different ways, there's still things that we can bond over and create relationships with people that think different than us and
Yeah, absolutely.
be somewhere where it's the same. I don't know.
Yeah, can't agree more. So next we have a bit of a rivalry in the mini final where Will wants to beat Yeremi because they're both coming in tied in terms of points. And they both want to see who is going to get the first pick amongst new threat men. I find this interesting because the fact is both Michaela and Olivia are going to finish higher than them. And I think you have to be crazy if you're Michaela or Olivia not to pick these two guys and make it completely irrelevant. At the same time, Michaela does not seem like either the name Yeremi or the name Will is coming out of her mouth in confessionals. So it matters.
Michaela has been odd this season. Always been kind of an odd person. Her behavior in this game has been very weird, and I've seen that she's gotten a lot of like social media fights. Like she said on TV that through the challenge to make sure CT goes in and she wants him to go home. But then on social media, she's saying, "Oh no, I threw the challenge because I wanted CT to go and take Chavez out."
Mm,
I don't know what's going on in her head. She seems to be changing her every week on things. And I don't think those two guys wouldn't be in your priority, especially because didn't she win with one of them or no? No, no,
no.
she won with what was his name? The one that left? Ben.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird that she isn't interested in either. And she's kind of in the alliance, the not Olivia.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so we see that CT shows that he's back and has the same competitiveness to win. Actually, I think I missed a little bit.
Well, no,
Uh,
it's same
Same
portion.
thing.
So
Okay, great.
he's yeah, he's doing very well. He came into the eating, devoured that. Puzzle chains, and now we get to the riddle portion. And we see also D says that CT is her nemesis and his cardio has gotten better, but she still would never want him as a partner.
Which I
Which,
mean, I can see because if they're not going to work well together socially, you don't want anyone as a partner.
yes.
That's just
But I think the way that she frames it or about it is more of I would never want to be with him because he sucks, and not
yeah.
like we're just two different people.
Fair.
But yeah, CT starts to work with Will in the riddle
Speaking
a
of
little
two
bit.
different people, we get a great confessional at the end from someone that D does select.
Yeah, talk about that when we
Yeah,
get to it. But CT kind of makes a connection with Will during the riddle, and he says like take care of the man or something like that. I don't know if CT told what the riddle was or something. I how they were helping each other. But he said I you got me on the next or something like that. So I think that he probably did tell him what the riddle was.
yeah, I think so.
Riddle, I texted you this and I looked at the thing. I didn't even have to pause it. And I knew exactly what the answer to it was without even seeing the letters.
Nice.
I know that you said you were going to look at it. Could you guess it?
Um, I mean, the players got it right before I did, but I could have figured it out.
Yeah, I was literally, and then I was like, it was like dawn and dusk, echoes where people, and I was like, purgatory?
Yeah.
And they've used the term purgatory in the challenge
In
before.
Total Madness.
Yes. So I was like, I don't know. I feel like you have to think Survivor riddles too. You know, it's going to be like not going home tonight or not getting voted out or
I'll tell you after every time think about Total Madness, I saw the funniest tweet a few months
oh.
ago about that season.
Um, but CT gets second for the men despite everybody saying that he sucks and can't do anything.
Yeah.
Um, but once the competition is over, he finished first for the females. Turbo finished first for the males. And Sydney and Turbo again. Sydney was pretty much helping everybody, but she made it an effort. Turbo, um, and make sure that he did well too because she is or he is the one that she wants as her partner.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is
TJ informed,
guaranteed anyway if she wins because she's already top of rookie females.
yes, but informs everybody that the one thing more than quitters is and informs everybody that they're just going to scrap the whole challenge.
Yeah. I and that kind of was what I wanted to bring up, but goes, I think, back to what I was talking about production's failures. I think they got into a point where they felt they had to scrap the whole challenge because they realized that they should have enforced the rules better. And at this point, there was really nothing they could go off of, but it did unfortunately um, cause harm to players that played honestly and were winning before anyone got the idea to cheat.
Yeah, and this made me very mad
Because it
because
seems
I
like it's
think
the players in like tier two, maybe like 4 through 10 to be there that all cheated together.
well, I mean, we even saw Sydney say, "Well, I finished 95% of my plate." Was
Yeah.
it 95%? Probably not. Like, I feel like once you're admitting to it, you're like, oh, maybe a little bit or whatever. But I don't know. I feel
But it
like
was
this
definitely more than we see from Nany and D.
Nany, D, Sydney, um, definitely some of the I didn't see Yeremi do it, but I feel like we didn't really see too much of him chowing the food down. Yes. Um, yeah, I feel like it's punishing the people that are playing the game honestly and that are actually trying to win.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see TJ. Well, you have proof of cheating over here, so you won't get any points today.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I'm not saying the points to the people who didn't cheat,
Right.
but you could, or not, like, I'm not saying move down, DQ them. At least be like, okay, you didn't cheat, so you're getting the 10 points today, because that would be the 1.5.
Exactly.
Um, and kind of move down the placement so it's not like rewarding people that came in last, but you're also not rewarding people that cheated on the challenge.
Yeah, very true. All right, so after the daily, I mentioned Sydney to a minor extent, and also Nany and D. Johnny admits that she cheated in the house. Um,
This was so weird to me.
Yeah, this was rude. I mean, she's already at.
America said it best. She's like, I don't know if John A's living in her own world right now, or
John A. Even if John A. won, she wasn't going above last, so it
he didn't even like cheat.
doesn't.
Like she's not even she knew everybody cheated and was like, what? Then I'm not eating this shit either.
Yeah.
That's not cheating. That's like nobody else did it. I'm not doing it either.
Right. Um, we get a challenge fancy dinner, which was entertaining to see. Theo, the British guy teaching all the Americans how to eat formally, was just hilarious.
We get the new vets kind of talking about oh they've grown on the challenge. And we get not the new vets, the new threats. And
Yeah.
the vets talking. We get like a toast from C, from Derrick, kind of saying that like passing the torch, but just saying you guys are coming in now. You're gonna be a part of this family and that. So I always love seeing this
Yeah.
with the cast.
And then after that, we get Will getting called out for the fact that his showmance cheated and he's angry at everyone who cheated. And that starts friction for the rest of the episode between the two of them, leading to Will and Nany maybe wanting to be in a romantic relationship and not be teammates anymore.
Know if he has like a dark passenger that comes out sometimes. I don't even think it, I mean, obviously it's encouraged by drink. I don't even think it was like fully controlled by the drinking because we saw this at dinner. You're having your
Yeah,
first couple drinks and you're already freaking out about that. Um, but yeah, he's mad at everybody, and then he said something like, or something to Leroy when he was like, people are just having conversations. He's like, "Can I speak?" or something like that.
yeah,
And yeah, it's odd, but I mean, I do get his frustration of I busted my ass during this to get what I needed to, and it didn't end up mattering, but I don't think this is the right way to go about it. What's done is done. TJ made a decision on it, so
and they're all gonna end up with probably the same partners as they wanted anyway. So
yeah, and it's like you're tied for first, dude. You didn't go to last.
yeah,
Speaking of partners, CT says he wants Tay partner and he's very nervous about asking her. But I the way that Tay reacted to this,
yeah,
it makes me so happy to see that she's someone that's not downplaying CT, and she said to him, CT, you've been the one or my one number one or whatever from the start. I really love this moment
same.
that CT wants someone like Tay as his partner.
And she's
Um,
done extremely well in the arena as well this season.
in their arena, yes.
And at the same time, also, Tay and CT, despite one being American and one being Australian, have been in this UK alliance led by a girl from Alaska. However, that makes sense. But
Yeah, and because you could also know, say you can probably fairly say that D does better than Tay in the dailies.
yeah,
Tay's done very well in the arena. D hasn't gotten down to the arena. But we've seen like I think CT and we've seen this with him not just in this season, but he likes to pick people as his partners who are not necessarily the strongest, fastest, whatever people that he can work with and encourage them their best. So I'm excited to see how these two do as a partnership. We'll
yeah,
spoiler, but
absolutely. And then we get before we get into the lock-in, a full-blown argument between Nany and Will, where it, at least from my judgment, looks like they might have started with a couple of drinks at dinner. Will's had more than a couple of drinks now.
at this point, yes. But I'm telling you, it's not a soul drinking. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, he gets drunk and goes crazy. He's already crazy. The drinking just kind of accelerates when he gets to that point.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I live right across the river from there. He's just French Canadian.
Yeah, I don't know.
I am very used to some of my neighbors going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all got a little bit of crazy to us,
Yeah.
but started punching walls and drunk. I care because I don't want them to look messy.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
so we go into the arena, but we're not having an elimination today. We're gonna get the entire lock-in now, which I was interesting. I expected this to be like I thought they were gonna eliminate somebody and then have it be cut off, and then we were gonna go into lock-in next week, like to start the episode. No, we're getting every pick done today so that they can go back to the house and get ready for a daily probably the next morning as new teams that are going to be together all the way up until the final. Well,
yeah,
there's an ad. Maybe not every team is going to be together all the way up until the final based on the preview, but they think so.
yeah, and we do get informed that since and Will were a tie, Yeremi did have a higher app placement. He is the one that gets to. Will is very annoyed by this, and I get this because I mean, Will, you did get first on the other, give it to you, um, but I understand frustrated about that.
Yeah. So with that, Michaela is first overall. She has the first pick, and this was where there was a bit of a surprise, based on the points. Michaela goes a little down the board and picks Cedric first.
Yeah, I took a picture of the leaderboard and it didn't end up changing, so it ended up working. But Cedric had 30 points.
Okay,
So
so
still
not far behind.
respectable.
Yeah, I mean 33 was where both Will and Yeremi were, so
Yeah.
that's one.
Interesting though. I think I didn't really see a lot of people talking about Cedric as their pick.
Yeah.
Um, but then we get Yeremi and he picks Aviv.
Yeah.
I wasn't too surprised by because Aviv or he picked Aviv for his first partner. They're Israeli, so I think that probably makes it gives them something in common
Exactly.
and like values that they share, so it makes a good partnership. Um, Aviv had 22 on the leaderboard.
And with the fact that Aviv is just really good at the challenge and is now being selected by Yeremi, who's came in as a rookie and just been blowing people out of the water. They are both set up to, in Yeremi's case, make a run in his rookie season, but in Aviv's case, to come back, 25, 30 seasons after her first win and do it again.
Yeah. And she obviously she didn't win last season on
Battle of
40,
Years.
but very well. So I am looking forward to seeing how this team works together. Aviv is a badass. She's a beast. I love her.
She'll know how to guide Yeremi through this game as someone who's won as a rookie before.
Yes, but you also have to remember that Aviv is only 2 seasons before.
Yeah.
So even though she's a and she's still isn't as connected as
absolutely.
somebody who's done a lot of seasons back
For
to
sure.
back to back for many years.
Yeah.
But then we get Olivia and she and now is very relieved by it because she did not want to be her partner.
Yeah. It's probably not the best to be game partners with someone you're hooking up with at the same time.
Yeah. And like even if they could pick like within the same class, I feel having both a rookie and a vet in your team, even if you vet, it helps you be interconnected to the point where it's not going to be rookies versus vets. Um, So yeah, it's like you said, it's not to pick somebody that you're hooking up with and having a relationship with outside.
Yeah, absolutely. So then it's Sydney's pick, who's top of her section of the show, who picks Turbo as the show's been leading up to. This is just hilarious because Turbo says that Sydney is such a strong player, but she needs to learn to, quote, shut up her mouth if she wants to make it through the game into a final. I'm like, that is good advice in the challenge, but coming from Turbo, it's a little weird.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about this couple things. I didn't really realize that they were that close until this episode. I didn't really like really working together that.
I
Didn't really
didn't
get to see a
think that
ton of.
they necessarily were. I think that in the last couple weeks they've both just been winning, and that's drawn them together.
Yeah.
But
Another thing I was gonna say is these two, we did talk about how Sydney is not a very face to face. She's not gonna freak out on your face.
no,
Turbo is though.
yeah,
So I don't know how it's gonna go. Hopefully he doesn't, but I do know that they each other on Instagram right now. Knows what the rest of the season.
pardon. So you cut out. Could you repeat that?
They don't follow each other on
Okay.
Instagram. So hopefully we get to see some entertainment.
Hopefully. I was gonna say though, with Turbo, you're right. Turbo absolutely is that type of person who will say anything to anyone's face. One thing that I just noted here in my mind as you were saying that, Sydney is a public defender for the city of Manhattan. I'm sure she has clients who are the type of people that Turbo can be and want to flip out and say something to a judge's face. And she has to calm them down and make sure they don't end up in Rikers over the weekend. So she probably has a lot of experience dealing with people that way.
That's true. I didn't realize that she was an attorney. Then we get Anessa, who picks Jay. I think this is going to be really. I think they will well together.
Yeah.
And picks Theo. This makes sense because Adrienne UK alliance, so I think it's that she's partnered with somebody who's not going to want to vote the opposite of what she votes.
Yeah.
Justin, I think these two will be a.
Which we saw Nany basically campaigning to Justin, please pick me during the episode, so that makes sense.
Then Leo he had to between Jonna or Ashley, so he picks Ashley. And I think this is probably a good choice, just how Jonna hasn't really been connected or performing very well.
It also just brought me back to that deleted scene of Aviv and Turbo playing Find Leo a girlfriend. And we know that Ashley has a new relationship on pretty much every season, whereas Jonna is married. So
yeah. Then we get CT who picks Tay, which we predicted earlier.
Yeah.
America picks Leroy. Then because America was between Leroy or Derrick. D defaults to Derrick Kaczynski.
Yeah.
And she is so excited, says this guy's a family man, this, that, and the other. But Derrick is like, why is she so excited about me as a partner? We've been on opposite sides of the game, borderline do not like each other, and he described it as a marriage made in hell.
I think this could work better than we think. Just from the outset, I know like they are absolutely on opposite sides of the game. Then again, Dia's coming in as a new threat. Derrick's coming in as someone from Era One, which is just on a total different side of who he's probably thinking of working with, who she's probably thinking of working with from the day. I do know that I shouldn't say no, I'm like 95% sure that Derrick is a big Survivor fan, so maybe they have that relationship that they could try to build on. He might know her from her previous show. I definitely think that there's room for the two of them to grow if they're maybe get to know each other a bit now that they have to work together, and as opposed to just coming in on opposite sides and kind of being stuck that way.
Yeah, I do think I'm pretty sure Dee said she's not the best at puzzles.
Mm,
I could
yeah,
we know Derrick is not the best at puzzles.
yeah,
So I think Derrick is somebody who doesn't quit. That seen
that's it.
him, he's never be someone to give up. He's gonna go until he dies. Um, so I agree this could be a really good team, but I could see them if there was a puzzle situation, I could see them having a hard time in it.
Yeah, that for the two of them, they probably want to hope that they're like, though, if they get, let's say everybody has 1 week that they get thrown into the arena. If you're Derek and D, you want to be like, just give us balls in.
Yeah, or just give, I wouldn't even say give them something endurance wise, like
Yeah,
who can hold longest. I
exactly.
think something like that. Like I remember D1, the one where you hold on to the pole, good endurance. Um, but lastly, we have Gabe and Jonna, who are together also by default. And Gabe is not very happy about this.
Yeah. It's Gabe's own problem. He had the ability to get more points. He's like the biggest
Yeah.
guy here. So
And I also just I have a problem with these people that like have like low points being so like I don't want to be with this person. I don't want to be with that person, but it's like okay, but that's your fault for not doing good in the daily.
yeah.
Like that's nobody else's fault. Um but I'm excited to see these players. For my player of the week, my male player of the week, I chose CT because I think he showed up at the and showed that even though he's in his best shape, he can be all the rookie men in the um he did a very good performance and you can see him doing a lot better than what he did starting off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who did you have for your male?
My male player of the week was Turbo. He kept cool this week. There was a fight in the house that Turbo wasn't actively involved in, which is always a win because usually that's not the case. He won the mini final, even though he didn't get any credit for it. But he also ended up with Sydney, who he clearly wanted to be partnered with, and the two of them were both top for vet male and rookie female. So they look like a team that could go all the way to the end.
Absolutely think both people have shot not just in the mini final, but season clearly. Um, they've been doing very, very well. So I think that that's a very good choice.
Yeah.
For my female, I picked Tay. Um, I don't know. The whole theme of this episode is how angry I am at some of these rookies for being disrespectful. But I love that even though rookie females disrespect CT, she's very happy to have him as a partner, said that he won from the start. And I was just saying these rookies should watch War of the Worlds too and see how CT went from no one wanting him on their team because he was out of shape to final. So I'm looking forward to seeing them. I did have an honorable mention.
Go ahead.
Jake, for standing up for Anessa and
Absolutely.
picking Anessa and not being like those a lot of other people that would never want to be partnered with Anessa.
True. I went with Aviv as my female rookie. Sorry, female vet, I mean. She had a strong performance on the women's side. She ended up with 22 points despite having points taken away. She also secured Yeremi as a teammate who I know he was tied. I personally think that Yeremi is the strongest male in the game, let alone vet or
Hmm.
rookie, doesn't matter. So I
And
think,
he's sane.
yeah, and is seems to be one of those people that just can socially handle anything. He's been very calm so far. So I think these two might be my favorite to win so far.
Yeah, I I think that's a good choice. I think Aviv is a very strong competitor. And even though she's not as young as a lot of the rookies, she's still performing very well.
Yeah,
And really she's an asset to be picked as the first person to be picked.
absolutely.
Moving to loser of the week. For the male, I picked Will because he crashed. It doesn't help to have a temper tantrum every time you get mad and saying, I'll wait whenever having fun at dinner is so annoying and is just like a buzzkill. Like, what are you trying to do? So that's why I picked him.
Yeah, absolutely. I picked Gabe in this situation. Simply put, across the whole season, even though we took out bananas, he came last. Yet he seems to be frustrated with his position in the game so far. And it's like, yeah, that's the point. You didn't have a choice. You deal with
Yeah,
whatever you get because you only got 15 points. Those
13.
people, 13. Thank you.
Sorry,
Those
that's what I was
people
just looking at.
those people in this show who got more than 13 points over solely 2 episodes. And we're now on episode 9.
And it just brings up a point of I'm going to make for my female loser. But if you have low points, you can't really shit talking people that you perceive to be weak, this, that, and the other when it's like, well, that's your fault for not scoring enough points so you can't get with people that
Exactly.
like I don't think like people understand that him crashing out over getting on A is like whose fault is that? You should
Yeah.
have tried hard.
Though I think it
Sorry.
is going to be just hilarious to watch with John A being one of the smallest people in this house and Gabe being a former WWE wrestler on the same team. That's going to be entertaining in some dailies.
I hopefully we get to see some of that.
Yeah.
A loser of the week, female. I picked D
Yeah.
because in a lot of bark. Sorry, Bruce. Again, I changed my mind. I used to be like, oh, I don't like her at all anymore.
Mm.
A lot of and no fight, like no bite. She sees herself as better than pretty much everybody except like Sydney, maybe. And she defaulted to having Derrick as her partner. I'm not saying this as a diss to Derrick, but you
Yeah.
didn't have a choice. Um, and if you were that good, you would have somebody would have picked you, or you would have gotten more than 4 points. And the fact that you CT all the time saying that he is out of shape, this, that, and the other. You literally have 14 points, and CT is almost twice, more than twice that with 33 points.
Yeah.
So, oh, and my honorable mention is Ashley for resting behavior.
Yeah. I picked 2 here. I said D and Nany. There was probably more, but they were the 2 blatant, obvious examples of cheating in the mini finals. So that's why I went with them. I'm not trying to let off any more examples that may or may not have happened, but these 2, it's just blatantly obvious.
Yeah, the only other one that I at least like some sort of be Sydney because she
Yeah.
did like to it, but we didn't really see
I
her
don't.
do
I
it.
didn't think I could
See,
put Sydney in this point because at the same point she did win the now canceled mini final and
and
also was first amongst women.
and we just see her attempt to eat. And like
Yeah.
Sydney got there, she took the longest. So maybe she threw a little bit thing, but I agree it's not the same as those other people who actually
And they at one
their
point
whole
were
pepper,
yeah.
the whole onion, like the whole piece you would be able to see.
Yeah.
So
and we don't know too. It would be interesting to see what Sydney might say, like on Instagram this week or something. But because there is a point where they do all bunch up, and it's like, did she just decide to do that on her own when she said she finished 95% of it, or did she see somebody do none of it and decide to pull a John A and keep herself in first place?
yeah, that we'll see if she says anything about that. I'm not really
Well,
sure.
if she doesn't ask me anything again, that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, well, you'll have to let me know.
Will do.
But yeah, I really like this episode. I feel like we had a lot to talk about this week.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how these new permanent partners shake up, and we also see that there's a chance to infiltrate a partnership. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out.
No idea, but I'm sure TJ will tell us when it happens.
Yeah, and I wonder who's going to want to get rid of their partner. I feel like that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, or even if you don't necessarily want to get rid of your partner, you might get your partner stolen
Yeah,
in
that's
some way.
you get stuck with somebody who the other didn't want. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it next week. Do you have anything else?
No, was a great episode. Thanks everyone for listening. Um, Tribal Council Chat's going to be recording later tonight, doing a full recap. Actually, I mean later tonight. I think it's in 6 minutes. So, doing a full recap of Survivor 49. Premiere was last night, so that'll be up soon as well. Kevin and Bruce are going to be doing Pit Stop Pals. Premiere of Amazing Race is tonight. Speaking of the challenge, it's going to be so odd if you're watching Amazing Race. It's all Big Brother players this year, but coming from a challenge fan perspective to see like Kyland and Natalie doing Amazing Race against each other, that'll be entertaining from a challenge perspective. Go ahead. Pardon?
I said I won't be watching the well, maybe because I don't really like Big Brother players, so.
Oh, fair.
I do like Kylan though, so maybe I'll see how he does.
I haven't been
that's
a big
exciting
fan
stuff.
of some of the Big Brother players that they've brought onto the challenge, but the two that Amazing Race casting brought in would probably be my two favorite Big Brother players that have came to the challenge. It's not like they're bringing the Casey, Fessy, Josh Alliance over to another show.
Yeah, they like soured my taste of Big Brother.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, there's some players on the current one that I think could make some really good challengers.
So maybe I'll watch to see. So I know them if they come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week with another episode.
See you then. Bye.